This entire Colin Kaepernick situation is so embarrassing at this point. For a guy whose livelihood depends on him being a professional victim and having to convince everyone he's being kept out of the NFL, while also doing a Netflix special saying the NFL is like slavery, he's still trying to pretend he's doing his best to get back on the plantation. And we've reached, I think, a low point when it comes to this because almost everyone unanimously is calling him out now. It's not believable anymore. When he comes out and does these things, you'll have the Jamel Hills of the world that'll support him. But now you got people like Charlamange calling out Kaepernick and basically saying it's weak and pathetic as shit for this dude to be begging to be back in the NFL after what he's said about the NFL. I don't know if you've seen this video yet, John. Have you?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the video part. I read it though.
Perfect. Let's listen to him. Now, the people that are on the broadcast with him kind of they say some dumb shit. Clearly have no idea what they're talking about, but we'll get into it. Listen to this.
I wish that letter was never written. That letter was tragically sad and downright pathetic. Colin Kaepernick has let his setback become his identity, and I hate that for him. God exalted Colin Kaepernick into a position of leadership in regard to activism, and it pains me to see that man still begging to be in a league that he called racist and compared to a plantation. And I hate that he can never speak for himself. He always got somebody else speaking for him or putting out his messaging for him. That's so whack to me. I wish Colin the best in all his endeavors, but this begging, these same people you called racist for an opportunity is pitiful.
And this is all from, him writing a letter begging to be on the Jets practice squad that he gave to J. Cole, who then J. Cole said, he didn't want me releasing this, but I think the world should see it. Bull fucking shit.
He wanted it released.
Of course he wanted it released.
It's
that's
headlines.
What it was. It's headlines. Of course he wanted it. What do you think he wanted J. Cole to fucking spell check it for him? Of course he wanted him to release it. And obviously, Charlamagne has a little bit different opinion than I do. He would, God put him in a position for activism and stuff. I think all that's bullshit. The entire thing's a grift. But then the other co-host of the Breakfast Club, I guess, get into it too.
I just don't like it.
Pitiful.
I'd rather him go to, what's the other league that they created? The XFL league or any other league. But the fact that they boxed him out, they don't want him in the league. Like, that's
Pause it right there. Pause it. I'm glad that he brought up the XFL. The XFL offered Colin Kaepernick a contract in 2020. The word is he wanted like NFL money. That league, no way in the world they were going to be able to pay him that kind of money. He had an opportunity to go there. He refused.
That's been a common theme for Colin Kaepernick. If you remember, after
he refuses everything.
After he opted out of his contract with the 49ers. Remember, that is what happened.
That's what happened.
He opted out.
He didn't get cut.
Because it would have been, they likely would have cut him, but he decided to opt out because he'd have more options available. He had a contract offer from the Denver Broncos, but he didn't feel like it was getting him paid enough. He didn't feel like he was getting paid like a starter, and so he turned it down. He had offers to be in the league after that. He turned it down. And yes, 100%. If he really wanted to show people who he was, he wouldn't be writing letters for the Jets practice squad. He'd be up in the Canadian Football League. He'd be in the XFL or the AAF or whatever these combined things are now at this point. Like, that's where he would be trying to showcase that he still does have it. But that's not what he wants to do because it's not really about it. It's about maintaining his victimhood status.
The CFL has his rights too. There's a CFL team out there right now that has his rights. And we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah. And then you've got people who have no fucking idea what they're talking about who decide to chime in.
And I asked earlier in the room, like, how good of a football player was he? Because the way that they just threw him out after all that, you would think that he wasn't good. But
he was a good player.
I heard he was
It
good.
don't even matter.
He was a good player.
He was a good player. He had a couple good seasons.
Yeah.
Of course he did. And then the NFL caught on to what he was doing. He wasn't able to make adjustments back. His coaching staff. You can argue a bunch of things about why Colin Kaepernick had such a drastic drop-off in his play. But his last couple of years in the league, he was one of the worst quarterbacks.
Yes.
Bottom line.
He had an 11-game losing streak. He was awful.
Regardless, and Charlamagne says this now, regardless of whether you guys just saw a headline and think he's a good football player, it doesn't matter. Listen to what he says.
He's a good player.
I heard he was.
It don't even
He
matter.
was a
It's
good
been
player.
7 years, and God exalted
In 7 years.
Colin Kaepernick into a position of leadership.
Now understand,
Literally.
he's been playing football probably since he was 3 years old, so that's all he knows,
Man,
and that's what he wants.
He
Because
knows
it's
something else now. God
got
put him
it.
in another position
But
now.
when
Stop
you-
looking back and look
It's
forward.
easy for you to say, but when you're competitive and you've been playing since you've been 3 and all you wanted was that ring and you haven't got that ring, that's probably what will make him stop, is getting that ring.
It is pitiful.
See, these people have no fucking idea what they're talking about, right? The people who are like, he was good. They're clearly still forcing him out. They don't want him in.
Call an organization racist compared to
I
a
agree.
plantation and then still be begging to go back on that plantation.
I
You call
agree.
America racist?
I just think it's funny that even people like Charlamagne are now just straight up calling out Kaepernick. He
Yeah.
has very few allies at this point because he can't keep this grift going for that much longer.
Nope.
Nobody believes he's being kept out. It's been 7 years, and now for you to be begging to be back on the plantation, not my words, Charlemagne's words, it looks pathetic as fuck.
Yeah, eventually the Nikes of the world, EA Sports of the world, eventually they're going to have to realize they're not getting a return on their investment in Colin Kaepernick. How much money did Nike give him after he was out of the league?
A lot of money. I don't remember how much it was, but it was a lot.
How long are they going to keep him on there? It's been a long time. The man's not a free agent. The man is just done.